1. So for background, I work in a call center as customer service for an online furniture store. And as some of you might already know, there's a global supply chain delay where shipments are coming into the harbors, but not enough workers at those harbors to unload the ships fast enough. So a lot of companies have their stock on backorder. And unfortunately, it's affected us too. A lot of our items are delayed until January, February, and some even as late as March. Our website was updated to include this delay, but a lot of customers just seem to skip over it. So when they call, they're upset, which I completely understand. I get a call from a customer and I do my usual greeting. Hi, welcome to XYZ, this is OP. May I please have your name and order number? The customer provides the order number and their name. Okay. I have your order pulled up here, and I do see you have an item that is out of stock.
Where the hell is my order? I've been waiting for this since the beginning of September.
Well, sir, I looked at the back-end stock date, and I do see it's delayed until some date in January.
I don't care about the date, I want what I ordered.
I'm sorry, sir, but unfortunately we do not have it available currently. But the moment it's available, we'll let you know by attempting to call you and email you to schedule the delivery.
No, I want what I ordered. I paid a lot of money for this, and I want it today.
I should note that he was living on the other side of the country, and our main warehouse where shipments come in is on the opposite side. I'm sorry, sir, but... And the rest was basically him interrupting me constantly, demanding we do the same-day delivery, and refused to listen to me when I kept telling him we don't even have his item in stock yet. He started asking for a manager to be transferred to another agent, and I told him they would tell him the exact same thing. I asked if he wanted to cancel for a full refund instead, or something else. And all he did was yell and repeat again. The call ended with him becoming furious with me, and saying some colorful words before he hung up on me. He wasn't the worst customer, sadly. I have worse stories, unfortunately. 2. I work in a call center as a customer service for an online furniture store. Don't panic, this is a new story. As I mentioned, there's a global supply chain delay where shipments are coming into the harbors, but not enough workers at those harbors to unload the shipments fast enough. What I should also add, and I find it makes my job harder and worse, is that we are unable to transfer customers to other agents and representatives and managers, etc. If they want to speak to a manager, we have to email a callback request. I cannot say more than that, otherwise it might give away the company I work for. So I don't remember the conversation exactly for this one, as this woman had ranted off a lot. I understand that when customers call customer service, they are upset, and I admit about 99% of the time I completely understand. I try to sound very sympathetic in my tone, and try to help as best as I can. And if memory serves me right, this was about another item that was out of stock, but this was before the global supply chain delay was widely known to all, so I honestly couldn't give her much of a response. Her item's estimated back-in-stock date was pushed back again. She was upset that it got pushed back, and I apologized and explained to her that due to the global pandemic, a lot of our stocks have been experiencing delays, so the dates have been getting pushed back. I also added that if she didn't want to wait so long for it, she can cancel the order at any time for a full refund. She didn't like that at all. She quickly started yelling and screaming at me, and she started throwing insults my way, saying things about how horrible and useless I am, how, and forgive me for the swearing, but these were in her words, I am a fucking idiot who can't do her job right, and she'll have my job for this, and she went on and on. She tried to speak to a manager, and I told her I can submit a callback request, but can't promise they would call back. And this set her off more to repeat the above. But then she said, "Fucking bitch!" then hung up the call on me. It was a very rough call, and I could not stop crying for about an hour. It was a rough week of calls like that. Later that day, I had a similar call, but this guy was constantly interrupting me and calling me useless, and then he hung up. He called again and again. Unfortunately, I got him again. The moment he heard my voice, he told me, and I will never forget this,
"Don't ever pick up my call again. I don't want to speak to someone who is as useless as you are."
3. This is a really good story, back in the days when people thought Corona was just a really bad beverage, and faxes were still a thing. For those of you who don't know what a fax is, think of it as email only on real paper scanned through a device that is slower than a computer built in 1992. Anywho, I worked at a call center for a very large bank that no longer exists today. Let's just call it Seattle United. Anyway, our call center was different from the others. We didn't take calls from customers or clients for the bankers themselves. They would call in asking questions about our policies and procedures on, well, basically everything. Even though they can get the same information if they would just go into the system, type the exact same question on our Google-like search page, and read what it says. But no, that would take too much time and effort, so they called us for everything. This is a call I remember from years ago. Thank you for calling Seattle United. This is OP speaking. How may I assist you? Can't believe I still remember the script.
Yeah, hi, this is banker ID 123. I have a customer here who wants to cash a check.
Okay, how can I help you with that?
Yeah, he wants to cash this check. Can he do that?
In my mind, I'm thinking, we're a bank, after all, so yeah? Did you try putting the check through the system to see if it would let you do that? Note, for all banks, they try to make the system idiot-proof. If you put the check through the system, it will tell you if you can cash it or if it needs to be deposited. But bankers, for some reason, don't like doing this. It's almost as if they think it's a black smudge on their records if the system says no.
The customer wants to know if it can be cashed before we put it through.
Now I'm thinking, I can't tell you if the check is good or not, if it can be cashed here at the branch or not. That's what the system is for. But as you know, dear listeners, there is always an exception for the rule. Except that rule which reiterates that there is always an exception for the rule. At most banks, there are certain types of checks that can be cashed no matter what at the branch level. Cashier's checks and government checks are two types. If the banker put the check in the system would have let him know of this. But he called me instead, so I can't tell you if it's a good check or not, but depending on the type of check, I can state what the policy is. What type of check is it?
It's a check.
Yes, I know. Do you know what kind of check?
It just looks like a check.
What? Is this guy a moron? Okay, maybe he's just stressed. Or new. Let's change this up a little. Okay, maybe if you tell me who the check is from, that will help.
Do you mean the customer?
I hang my head at this point and sigh deeply while on mute. How did this guy get the job? No, I still said, trying to sound professional. Who wrote the check?
The people.
I was struck silent once again. Did he just say the people? Did he mean the customers, or was he talking about something else? I know when I was a kid, I actually liked to go to the doctor's office. They had neon lights on the wall and tie-dyed hats with stuffed animal patches on them. To me, it was the coolest place to go. The name of the clinic was just The Doctors. There could be a business called The People, right? Is that a business, The People?
The people wrote the check.
Okay, this is going nowhere. He has no clue. I have no clue. Let's end this. Okay, why don't you fax me a copy of the check and let me take a look at it? Back in those days, most banks didn't have scan and send options like they do today. I had to put the banker on hold, wait for the banker to fax me the item, which took about 5 minutes to get by the way, then go back to the banker, which destroyed my handle time. So I get this check copy, and guess what? It's a social security check that says, "We the People," across the top of it. I died laughing. It took me a whole minute to gather myself to get back to the banker and inform him that yes, we can cash it. Just put it through the system like you should have done from the beginning. Then I tell everyone I see about this call. Wow. 4. So this is a story from my first tech support job, 2017. The employee is me, but no self-D-sucking, I was good at my job. English is not my first language, but I am proficient as it was my primary language providing support. Second language required was German, my third language. So I got hired to this team mainly because my English was, and is, still better than my German. It was my normal tech support, not so many calls, but more emails and tickets, and mostly in English. As some people went by, like students who were there to work while studying in university, I was asked to enroll in the other part of our project, which is just tickets and outbound mails, which were not the primary contact, just the resolver and follow-up team, but was mainly in German. I was against it because my German knowledge was poor, in my opinion. Eventually, I rolled with this project and barely did the original I was enrolled for. I preferred handling tickets and not having to talk to customers directly than taking calls. Also, my German got better. Time went by and I remained the most experienced agent. Not completely true, as there was one other, but she was not good as I was, even though she was working there way longer than me. On this topic, due to the senior colleague who went to a supervisor position, and people coming and leaving. I also had the honor to train the new colleagues, which I did and did good. Still, I started to notice that the majority of the work would fall on me. I told my team lead about it, and she told me it's going to change, but it did not. Even my colleagues spoke in favor of me, that I'm working way more than my colleagues. Note, I did not ask them to do so, they did it entirely on their own. They're still the best colleagues I've ever worked with. But she still gave most of the work to me. I found out that she needed to provide some green SLAs for bonuses, so she made me work as I worked hard and fast. Eventually, I asked for a one-to-one session with her. I told her that I am working way more than my colleagues and it is not fair. I offered to train them and answer all of their questions they had regarding the job. I also mentioned that I am quitting and gave my 2-month notice, as required by my contract. Surprise Pikachu boss! She told me it's not exactly fair of me. I told her that my colleagues and I have told her about my situation, but nothing changed, so I'm quitting. I was there for 1.5 years, but to be fair, that is why I offered to train my colleagues and answer all their questions. The notice period was quite pleasant. I trained the colleagues and had to do way less work than previously. I was not bothered much and did what I wanted because, what would she do, fire me? She made attempts to make me stay, but I had another job lined up with better salary, so I refused. From what I heard, they managed to do the support just not as good while I was working there. The project was eventually moved to another country next year. 5. Hey, this story comes from my first job at a very well-known cable company that charges way too much for their services, but whatever. This started out as a simple account review call, asking fees, payment due dates and such. The customer was actually really nice. Just thought this call was pretty hilarious. Alright, how can I help you today, sir? Yes, so I called to know which days I'm supposed to make my payments. I wasn't exactly from the billing department, but my system still allowed me to see payment dates, charges, and such, so I decided to help instead of transferring him. I can definitely help with that. Just a heads up, since I'm not from the billing department, I can't exactly take any payments. That's okay, I just wanted to know the date and amount that's due. I checked the info and was honestly really surprised with his account. It was very much close to perfect. No past due payments, no extra charges, no weird charges for movies, and even had a very cheap bill despite his cable package. Okay, well, the amount due is $38.45, and your last day to make your payment would be on the 24th, 2 weeks from now. Is there anything else I can help you with? Yes, I have another account. Well, I pay for it, but my brother uses it. Could you check the same info? Sure thing. Could you give me the account number? Proceeds to get the info into the account and finally bill statements. Right, sir, so I'm just checking the bill statements and... Well, the bill's due date is on the 29th and the amount due is $679.89. What? The bill is $678.89. How in sweet hell is the bill that high? Well, let me check that real quick for you, sir. I read through the bill charges. Sir, does your brother have kids by any chance? Yes, how did you know that? So, from what I can read here, many of the charges were made due to renting and buying children's movies. Some of them were adult ones. Well, how many movies did they rent? I count. Around 58 movies and 24 more were bought. Some were the same, so the kids rented and bought the same movie. Oh my god, he's such a dead man. I'm sorry for that. Is there anything I could do to help? Yes, well, I'm sorry, I'm not mad at you or anything. I'm just really pissed off right now. Could you read me every movie title, every amount, and the date they were charged? Sure thing, sir. Here's a fun fact. This call happened during a night shift, meaning that there were about 10 agents on the floor that day. So I didn't have the nice ambient noise of 90 agents talking at the same time to deafen out my voice. So all my co-workers were hearing me shout out every movie title, charge, and date, while making small calculations of all the charges, and looking at me with grief and horror. After a good 15 minutes of him writing down everything, his voice and tone changed into a more serious manner. That should be all of them. Is there anything else I could help you with? That should be it. You were really helpful. Thank you so much. If you need to, I can send your phone instructions on how to put a PIN code so no more movies or shows can be added without consent. No, that's all right. It won't be necessary. All right, be sure to remember your bill due dates, otherwise the account could be cancelled. Oh, believe me, he will pay. He hangs up. I don't think he was talking about paying the bill. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Please Hold, episode 17. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Right, let's see, I think I'm going to put this one up on the 5th. Yes, the 5th. So I believe we do have a birthday shout out to go on that date. Birthdays. And this one is... there we go. Okay, I have a birthday shout out that goes to Jasmine today. Jasmine is, the big 40 today. All I can say, Jasmine, is welcome. One of us. You'll find your 40s don't differ much from your 30s, really. You're just a bit older. That's the thing about becoming an adult. You're basically just a child with responsibilities. You're grumpier. But you also have more freedom, so I guess it kind of sort of balances out. Anyway, now I would like to sing the birthday song, as we call it, to Jasmine before I go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jasmine. Happy birthday to you. Lovely. Okay, now as it is the start of the year, I always like to do this sort of thing in January. Right, now if you would like a birthday shout out of your own, you can send that to kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's kingofthecities@gmail.com, and you can find that in the description of this very video. Right down there where it says show more. If you're on mobile, there'll be a little down-facing arrow next to the title. Tap that, you'll be able to see the description. And in there you will also find links to Twitter. There isn't a Discord link. I really do need to add that. Bad Hellfreezer, bad. Add the Discord link. And let me get... Oh yeah, PO Box is also there. That'll be there for a few more months. And the Patreon link is there as well. So if you'd like to support the channel financially, you can do so through Patreon. Bear in mind, as the channel is daily, I don't have a lot of time to do like extras and bonuses. So it's essentially just to support the channel. It's not tiered, there's no levels, just whatever you like. It's welcome and appreciated, and it is very, very helpful. It helps buy equipment and things like that. There is also a Facebook, but ignore that because that will probably get deleted at some point, unless it suddenly becomes a much better site. And I think that's about everything, really. Yeah, I'd say that's about everything. Right, so here we are. We're firmly in 2022 now, and let's see what the year brings. With that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.